Donald Trump once said he wouldn't rule out using military force to get Greenland.
Yep, when Greenland handily turned down his offer to buy them, things got a little dark because nothing says diplomacy like threatening to invade the North Pole.
But here's the twist. While Trump was fixated on taking over Greenland through military force, Canada pulled off the real Arctic power move.
Yeah, a Canadian company quietly secured a 30-year mining deal in Greenland for the exact kind of minerals Trump's been chasing for years. The stuff that powers fighter jets, electric vehicles, and modern defense systems.
And this wasn't luck. It was strategy. And it just flipped the Arctic story on its head.
Because the Arctic isn't just about snow and polar bears anymore. It's where the next great power struggle is already underway.
Melting ice means open shipping lanes and access to trillions of untapped resources: oil, gas, and critical minerals.
Every major power wants in. Russia's militarized its Arctic coast, and even China calls itself, well, we're a near-Arctic state.
And Trump? Well, he wants ownership. First Greenland, then Canada.
Remember his 2019 offer to buy Greenland from Denmark? Yeah, he never let that go, and when that flopped, he literally said he wouldn't rule out military options to get Greenland.
Ever since he was re-elected, he's been threatening the North for Greenland to Canada. Steep trade tariffs, 51st state rhetoric, and the kind of economic warfare you usually hear from adversaries. He didn't rule out military force for Greenland, and he clearly stated that for Canada, he was going to use economic force, and he's definitely stayed true to his word.
So what's with the infatuation with the North? Well, it's all about resources, minerals, water, and control of northern shipping routes.
First, let's talk about water. Trump's been hinting for years that America should tap Canadian fresh water as a shared resource. Remember when he looked at the map and said, all that water is just flowing down here? Reality check, Donald. Water doesn't slide off the map into America just because it's below Canada on a page.
Yeah, maps are not plumbing diagrams, Donald. But we all know geography isn't his strong suit anyway. But the idea? It's not a joke. With droughts across the U.S., American policymakers have talked about pipelines to divert Canadian lakes and rivers south.
That's just another way of saying, we'll take it when we need it. And if you want to learn a little bit more about the water wars, we have a whole video dedicated to that, linked below, or you can watch it up here.
So when Trump talks about economic force, you can bet water is a part of that equation.
Here's a quick fact for you. The U.S. has eyed bulk water exports and pipeline proposals since the 1990s, and climate stress is reviving that idea.
And then there's the Northwest Passage. Once it was frozen year-round, but now it's open part of the summer and melting fast.
Yeah, Canada calls it domestic waters. The U.S. calls it international waters. Now that is not a small disagreement.
So as traffic increases, so will the tension. If Washington insists on sailing freedom of navigation missions through our Arctic, it could spark the kind of diplomatic standoff that we haven't seen since the Cold War.
For Canada, it's simple. Sovereignty isn't negotiable. We built the radar, we patrol the ice, we pay the price for climate change up here. That gives us the right to defend it.
But while Trump was trying to strong-arm his way into the Arctic, Canada took a quieter route. Ottawa focused on alliances and trade instead of threats.
The Arctic's future is being written right now, and Canada is in the opening chapters.
Greenland's leaders want economic independence from both the U.S. and Denmark. They are done being treated like property. So when Canada showed up offering partnership, not purchasing, they listened.
Enter Greenland Resources Inc., a Toronto-based company with years of geological data on a site called Malmbjerg in East Greenland.
The find? Molybdenum, a metal that makes high-strength steel for defense systems and energy infrastructure.
In June 2025, Greenland approved a 30-year exploitation license for the project. That's right, a Canadian company got the go-ahead in the very place Trump tried to buy.
And within months, they signed a 10-year, $1.6 billion offtake deal with Outokumpu. Try to say that 3 times fast, everybody. It's Finland's stainless steel giant and Europe's biggest stainless steel producer.
That means guaranteed European buyers for a decade, before the first ounce even leaves the ground.
The deal could supply roughly a quarter of Europe's molybdenum demand and nearly all of its defense-grade steel.
It also gives Canada a foothold in Europe's critical minerals strategy, right as the EU is trying to cut dependence on China.
Meanwhile, the US is left watching from the sidelines.
Trump's version of Arctic dominance was all noise and no nuance. Canada's version? Well, it was partnerships, credibility, and actual results.
For Greenland, it's a chance to grow without giving up sovereignty. And for Canada, it's proof that we can lead without playing empire.
But here's the real sting for Trump. The very minerals that he wanted to control are now locked in contracts with Europe through Canada.
It's like watching someone brag about buying a house after someone else has already got the keys.
And this just isn't about Greenland either. Trump's been pushing economic warfare on Canada since day one. Tariffs on steel, aluminum, EVs, even lumber.
He's called Canada everything from a socialist regime to a nation feeding off America. He's talked about making us the 51st state, and he even blamed us for being subsidized by the US and warned that if Canada crosses him, he can play dirtier.
Yep, insults, tariffs, annexation talk, it's never just policy, it's personal for this guy.
But Canada's response has been strategic. Instead of shouting back, we've diversified, building ties with Europe, Asia, and the Indo-Pacific. And that's how you counter a bully, not with bluster, but with alternatives.
The Arctic's future is being written right now, and Canada is in the opening chapters. And it's not just about water, mining rights, or trade, it's about defense readiness.
And NATO's been urging members to boost Arctic capabilities, and Canada's mineral diplomacy gives it new leverage inside that alliance.
Prime Minister Carney's government committed to raising defense spending to 5% of our GDP, the biggest modernization in Canadian history.
That includes new Arctic radar systems, next-generation submarines, and ice-breaking patrol ships to secure our northern waters.
Because protecting the Arctic resources isn't just about economics, it's about sovereignty.
And for once, Canada's not waiting for permission to lead.
The Malmberg project ties together Greenland, Canada, and Europe in a supply chain built on cooperation, not coercion.
And Russia, they can't match it under their sanctions. China, they can't control it. And Trump, he can't buy it.
And what's the irony? The irony is the man who wanted to dominate the Arctic may have accidentally inspired Canada to lead it.
The more he threatens us, the stronger our alliances get, and the more united Canadians become.
This story proves something big. Power isn't always about armies or threats, it's about credibility.
Yeah, Canada doesn't need to shout to be heard. It just keeps showing up with ideas that work.
The Arctic may be melting, but Canada's reputation is solid. We're building influence the old-fashioned way, through trust, trade, and truth.
Because every time he calls us weak or socialist or satellite state, Canada answers with something stronger. Results.
That's what we do here. We cut through the noise, call out the nonsense, and we keep our elbows up.
So when Trump talks about owning Greenland or disciplining Canada, remember those threats are just noise. The real power moves are happening quietly, and they're wearing a maple leaf.
So who do you think will shape the Arctic over the next decade? The loudest voice or the smartest partner? So to wrap it up, yeah, insults, tariffs, threats, even fantasies about annexation. And yet, here we are, still standing, still leading.
If you like what we're doing, don't just watch, be a part of it. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this episode so more Canadians and brave Americans see the facts.
And if you want to go even deeper, join our newsletter on Substack. It's called Unfiltered North. We post extra context, behind-the-scenes notes, and the stuff you can't always say here on YouTube.
And one more thing while you're here, grab some merch and show your colors. We've got the Keep Calm and Carney On shirts and the Vive la Canada mugs. And yes, they'll look great at your next protest.
Every bit of support helps us stay independent, ad-free, and loud where it counts.
Because in times like these, facts need a megaphone, and community keeps the lights on.
Quiet wins, loud loses.
Elbows up, Canada, and see you tomorrow.